Have you ever stared at the ceiling at 2 a.m., replaying the moment someone broke your trust? Wondering, why do good people get hurt, while the people who lied, cheated, or betrayed them seem happier than ever? Maybe they manipulated you. Maybe they walked away without a single apology. Maybe they replaced you overnight and somehow looked like they won. Meanwhile, you're left carrying the pain they created. You wait for justice. You hope karma notices. You wonder if they'll ever feel even a fraction of what they made you feel. But what if everything you've been told about karma is backwards? What if the fastest way for karma to catch someone who hurt you isn't revenge, isn't exposing them, and isn't making them suffer? According to psychology, the moment you stop chasing payback and start reclaiming your own life, something powerful happens. The person who hurt you is left alone with the one thing they can never escape: their own mind. Their choices become habits, their habits become character, and eventually, their character creates consequences no one else has to deliver. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the people who hurt others often become the architects of their own downfall, and why your greatest victory begins the moment you stop waiting for theirs. Most people think karma is some mysterious force silently keeping score, like the universe is waiting for the perfect moment to settle every debt. Do something bad today, and someday, somehow, something bad will happen to you. Whether you believe in spiritual karma or not, modern psychology points to something just as powerful. Every decision you make doesn't only affect other people, it changes you. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on what you repeatedly do. Tell one lie, and the next lie becomes easier. Betray someone's trust once, and your mind becomes better at justifying betrayal the next time. Manipulate people often enough, and your brain starts treating selfishness like a normal survival strategy instead of a moral choice. This is known as habit formation. Repeated behaviors strengthen the same neural pathways, making those actions feel more automatic over time. Eventually, harmful behavior stops being something a person does and becomes someone they are. That's when the real consequences begin. People who constantly deceive others struggle to build genuine trust. People who repeatedly manipulate others begin seeing everyone as a potential threat. People who use others for personal gain often end up surrounded by relationships built on fear, convenience, or dishonesty, not love, respect, or loyalty. And here's the truth: most people never realize. The greatest punishment isn't always losing money, status, or success. It's slowly becoming the kind of person who can no longer experience real peace, real trust, or real connection. In other words, they don't just damage the lives of others. Little by little, they damage themselves. Because the most powerful form of karma isn't something that suddenly arrives one day. It's the person you become after every choice you make. At first, it looks like they're winning. They're laughing, posting vacation photos, celebrating promotions, living as if nothing ever happened. From the outside, it can feel unfair. You wonder if they escaped every consequence. But appearances are often the greatest illusion. Psychologists have found that people who live behind repeated lies place their minds under constant pressure. Every deception creates another story to protect, another detail to remember, and another fear of being exposed. Over time, that mental burden grows heavier, stress increases, anxiety quietly builds. Real peace becomes harder to find, and relationships, they begin to fall apart. Because trust can never grow where honesty doesn't exist. Someone who constantly manipulates others eventually starts believing everyone else is just as manipulative. They question people's motives. They expect betrayal. They struggle to relax because they're always looking over their shoulder. Think about that for a moment. The fear they created in others slowly becomes their own reality. The walls they built to control people become the walls that trap them. That's the hidden cost of hurting others. Sometimes the punishment isn't public, it's private. A restless mind, shallow relationships, and a life where genuine trust becomes almost impossible to experience. Here's where most people unknowingly make their biggest mistake. They become obsessed with making karma happen faster. They send one last angry text. They check the other person's social media every day. They replay old conversations. They gossip. They look for ways to expose them, embarrass them, or prove everyone else wrong. It feels justified. But psychology suggests it often has the opposite effect. Every time you react emotionally, you're giving that person something incredibly valuable: your attention, your time, your peace of mind. In psychology, this is called reinforcement. When someone's actions continue to get a strong emotional response, those behaviors can feel rewarded, even if the response is negative. In other words, your anger keeps them connected to your life. But the moment you stop responding, everything changes. No dramatic messages, no late-night arguments, no checking their profile, no trying to convince them they hurt you. Just silence. And silence can be incredibly powerful, because toxic people often thrive on control. When they can no longer influence your emotions, they lose the very thing that made them feel powerful in the first place. Without your attention to distract them, they're left alone with their own thoughts, their own choices, their own emptiness. Meanwhile, you're no longer wasting energy on someone who already took enough from you. You're investing it in the only person you can truly change: yourself. And that's the moment the balance begins to shift. Not because you defeated them, but because you finally stopped giving them access to your peace. There is something far more powerful than revenge, and it's something no one can fake: your growth. For someone who underestimated you, expected you to fall apart, or believed you'd never recover, nothing is more unsettling than watching you build a life that's happier, healthier, and more fulfilling without them. Not because you're trying to prove a point, not because you're posting for their attention, but because your success becomes a mirror they can't avoid looking into. Psychologists call this social comparison. Human beings naturally measure themselves against the people around them. When someone expected you to stay broken, but instead sees you becoming stronger, more confident, more disciplined, and more successful, it creates an uncomfortable conflict in their mind. They begin asking questions they never wanted to face. What if I underestimated them? What if I walked away from someone truly valuable? What if I was the one who made the biggest mistake? Those questions don't come from anything you said. They come from what you've become. That's why your greatest comeback isn't a speech. It's a transformation. Every goal you achieve, every healthy relationship you build, every moment of genuine happiness becomes undeniable proof that your future was never dependent on the person who hurt you. And sometimes, that's the deepest form of karma. Not watching you suffer, but realizing you learned to thrive without them. Because success doesn't just change your life, it quietly exposes the choices they wish they could take back. Some people appear completely heartless, they smile, they move on, They act as if your pain never mattered. But psychology tells a different story. Most people want to believe they're a good person. When their actions don't match that belief, the mind experiences cognitive dissonance, an uncomfortable inner conflict that's difficult to ignore. To escape that feeling, people often create excuses. They deserved it. It wasn't my fault. I had no other choice. Those excuses may quiet the guilt for a moment, but they rarely eliminate it. The truth has a way of resurfacing. It shows up as stress, unexplained anger, restless nights, broken relationships, and an emptiness that success, money, or attention can't fill. Because guilt doesn't disappear when it's ignored. It simply goes underground, waiting for the moment it can no longer be hidden. That's the reality many people never see. The deepest consequences aren't always visible to the world. They're carried silently, inside the mind of the person who caused the harm. And sooner or later, that emotional debt demands to be paid. If you truly want karma to catch up with someone, stop trying to control it. The harder you chase revenge, the longer you stay emotionally connected to the person who hurt you. Real power begins the moment you decide your future matters more than their past. So shift your focus, heal your mind, take care of your body, exercise, not to impress anyone, but to remind yourself how strong you really are. Learn new skills, read more, travel if you can. Build genuine friendships with people who value your presence instead of taking it for granted. Set goals that excite you. Create a life so meaningful that one day you'll realize the person who hurt you rarely crosses your mind anymore. That's not forgetting. That's healing. Psychologists consistently find that people recover faster when they invest their energy in personal growth rather than revenge. Every workout, every new habit, every small victory is proof that your life is moving forward. Meanwhile, the pain that once defined you becomes smaller with every step you take. Remember this: healing isn't pretending nothing happened. It's refusing to let what happened define who you become. Because the greatest victory isn't watching someone else fall. It's rising so high that their actions no longer have the power to pull you down. And that's when karma no longer becomes your responsibility. It becomes life taking its natural course, while you keep moving toward a future that's stronger, wiser, and completely your own. Here's the truth. Most people spend years trying to understand. The greatest revenge isn't making someone suffer. It isn't proving them wrong. It isn't waiting for life to punish them. The greatest revenge is becoming someone their actions can no longer control. Some people waste years waiting for karma to show up. Others make a different choice. They heal. They grow. They build meaningful relationships. They chase their dreams. They become stronger, wiser, and happier than they ever imagined. And somewhere along that journey, they realize something incredible. They no longer care whether karma ever arrived, because they've already won. Ironically, that's often when the people who hurt them begin facing the consequences of their own choices. Not because you forced it, but because every decision eventually shapes the life of the person making it. So stop asking, when will they get what they deserve? Start asking, what kind of future do I deserve to create? Because your energy is too valuable to spend on someone who chose to hurt you. Your future deserves your attention. Your peace deserves your protection. And your happiness deserves to become your priority. If this video changed the way you think about karma, revenge, and healing, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another video designed to help you become mentally stronger. And always remember, The most powerful way to leave the past behind isn't to erase it. It's to build a future so meaningful that the past no longer has the power to define you.